What's up, gamers? I'm Willow, and welcome to Willow's Warbling, the show on YouTube. Today we have a video essay on the music from the Kalos region of Pokémon. This one took me a while, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. With that out of the way, let's get into our sponsor, Tepig and Chikorita's Pokepuffs. Now, I personally have eaten at least one Pokepuff from Tepig and Chikorita, and let me tell you, they are definitely not for people to eat. These little cakey frosting sandwich things are perfect for the Pokemon partner in your life. They come in a variety of flavors, like sweet, mint, citrus, mocha, spice, supreme spring, supreme summer, supreme autumn, supreme winter, supreme wish, and supreme honor. Great names, guys. If you want to grab some of these delicious guys for yourself, go ahead and visit www.tepigandchikoritapokepuffs.com.net/pokepuffs.com and use code warblers for a 10% discount. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. When I was 9 years old, I won a bet with my stepfather, resulting in me obtaining my copy of Pokemon Y. It was with this copy that I was introduced to the wondrous region known as Kalos. I spent time with Professor Sycamore, cleared gyms with my Fennekin, and maxed out the playtime tracker. 12 years later, in 2025, Pokemon Legends ZA came out, a new Pokemon game that was also set in the Kalos region. As I played, I began to realize something. I am the target audience for this game. Now, what do I mean by that? A target audience is a complex subject, but fundamentally, it is a group of people that your project is made for. For other Pokemon games, like X and Y, the target audience is young children, ages 8 to 12 or so. Pokemon Legends ZA is specifically meant for people who played Pokemon X and Y when they were young, as it uses several techniques to induce nostalgia within the player that work especially well on those who are familiar with the sounds of Kalos. Lumio City sits in the center of the Kalos region, both physically and culturally. Pokemon X and Y used it to show off the new 3D graphics that have been added to the games. When entering the city, you are greeted with a jaunty, empowering theme. The music has violin driving its melody, giving a sense of freedom and elegance. Sharp, brass tones communicate the power of the city, the heart of Kalos beating with each note. Legends ZA takes place exclusively in Lumios. When you first start the game, you arrive at the city by train. You hop off the platform, travel bag in hand, and then the music starts to play. First, a simple intro riff on piano. Then you hear that familiar melody, that same music I heard as a kid. Not on strings, but on saxophone. The rest of the theme has a lot more of a jazzy feel to it than the grand theme of X and Y, communicating the idea that Lumios has aged a bit. Lumios isn't some mythical location, it's home. Within Lumios, there is a building called Sycamore Pokémon Lab. In Pokemon X and Y, the Sycamore Pokémon Lab is led by Professor Sycamore, a dashing Pokemon researcher focused on Pokemon evolution. His presence can be felt within the music of the lab, a simple theme that feels as though you're on the start of your journey. It uses woodwinds to give it that light, playful feel. Professor Sycamore isn't a serious academic, he's a playful guy who wants to see the protagonist succeed. The Sycamore Pokemon Lab is also present in Legend ZA, but it feels very different. As soon as you walk in, you hear a theme that is much more serious. It has a lot of percussive elements, giving it a more rigid structure. Synth notes in the background match the same melody as the original, but it is distinctly muted. This is because Professor Sycamore is no longer in charge of the lab. Instead, a more serious researcher named Mabel is acting as the director of the Sycamore Pokemon Lab. Battling is a massive part of the Pokemon franchise. In X and Y, it looks like this. You walk along a route, pass through some grass, and then BAM! A Pokemon appears. The wild battle theme kicks up, and instantly you are amped for battle. The music is fast-paced, giving you that pulse rate feeling in your chest. The music is driven by brass, with big, bold tones, giving the theme a sense of weight and urgency. There are moments where the theme quiets down a bit, giving the player room to breathe, before it picks back up and throws you back into the fray. Legend ZA has a different approach to wild battle music. Lumiose has areas called Wild Zones. A softer, less energetic version of the wild theme from X and Y plays here, with a simple piano melody. As soon as a battle with a wild Pokemon starts, the melody shifts to saxophone with very diverse percussion, giving the Wild Zone a unique and shifting sonic experience. Trainer battles in both games use a very similar theme to each other. In X and Y, the trainer battle theme has horns blasting its intro, reminiscent of older games, before launching into electric guitar. Legend ZA starts with the guitar, along with some synth, that really emphasizes the battles you are having are not with wild Pokemon, but with trained Pokemon, as the wild instruments are replaced with more modern ones. Pokemon has a long history of using underground areas for its story. In Pokemon X and Y, this took the form of several cave areas throughout the game. These caves had the purpose of giving the games a more diverse feel with different textures, Pokemon, and music. X and Y's caves all used this theme, an almost mischievous theme on woodwind. It feels a bit eerie at times, like the echoes of words off cave walls. Parts of it feel like the player is sneaking around, with some ulterior motive in mind. Legend ZA has underground areas as well, but they are very different than the average Pokemon game. A cave would not fit into the man-made city of Lumiose, so the underground is relegated to the sewers. The sewers have a very familiar sound to them, almost identical to the caves of X and Y, except for the percussion, which has this energetic and structured vibe to it, adding to the man-made feel of Lumiose. Team Flare are the main antagonists of Pokemon X and Y. You first meet them at the end of Glittering Cave. Their theme is similar to the main trainer battle theme, with electric guitar amping you up, but it has this synth leitmotif that occasionally plays that I call the Flare motif. Overall, the theme communicates the idea of battle with an evil and stylish foe, and the unison that the Flare motif gives communicates to the player that you are battling Team Flare, not just any random trainer. Towards the end of X and Y, Team Flare is defeated, so you'd assume they would not be present in a game set in X and Y's future, but you'd be wrong. A pair of former Team Flare members are trying to rebrand and restart Team Flare. They lead you into the former Team Flare base, called Lysander Labs, and you hear this theme. The theme is noticeably slower than most Team Flare music from X and Y, but it still has that same Flare motif. The music tells us that this lab is no longer active and serves less as a place of adventure, but instead as a place of intrigue. These two games share a lot of music similarity. The main city theme, the Sycamore Pokemon Lab music, wild battle themes, trainer battle themes, and Flare motifs all match up really well. This is because Nintendo is trying to draw on players' episodic memory of playing X and Y when they were kids, bringing back all those wonderful childhood memories. Each and every location is filled to the brim with stuff like this: musical overlaps, returning characters, and revamped locales. This game was made for people like me, and I enjoyed every second of it. But why did Nintendo choose to make these games so nostalgic for people like me? The answer is simple: to sell more copies. As much as I appreciate video games as an art form, at the end of the day, they are being developed, polished, packaged, and sold as a product, especially by big companies like Nintendo. Pokemon X and Y were bold, brash, loud. I've personally had to lower the volume of every single game clip from them. They drilled themselves into every little 2013 kid's mind. Nintendo built Legend ZA to dig up those memories with calmer, subtler music. In this sense, Legend ZA is more nostalgic than the original games, despite the fact the original games are the things that I am nostalgic for. Despite their insidious marketing nature, I still loved Legend ZA. The music was beautiful, with greater depth than X and Y. The characters were wonderful. The camera was fully controllable. Most of all, it felt like I had just won that bet with my stepfather again, and that feeling alone is worth the $60. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and send me $20 via Carrier Pidgey. Goodbye-bye!